Baby, let's ride. This morning, I'd like to talk about my ride, my daily commuter, my Honda rs150. Now, I've talked about her in the previous in a previous video, but I'd like to talk about her in a more detailed review. Not that I'm any good at making reviews, but here's my take on a review of the Honda rs150. So it's a underbone motorcycle produced by Honda to compete with the Suzuki Raider 150 and with the Yamaha Sniper 150. Now, there are different variants of the rs150. In terms of color, there's black, red, and magenta. There's also the variant with the Repsol color scheme or the Repsol sticker scheme. Now, it doesn't matter what variant it is, whether it's an rs150 or an rs150R, they more or less share pretty much the same specifications that you can easily check online. Now, here's a summary of the specifications. The engine is a 4-stroke, 4-valve COHC liquid-cooled engine with a displacement of 150cc, to be exact, 149.75 cc. Oh man, look at that. So early in the morning and it's already traffic. Oh well. Back to the Honda rs150. So displacement is around 150cc. It has a kick starter and electric starter. It has a 6-speed transmission, and both the rear and front brakes are hydraulic brakes. It has mags for wheels and a seat height of 764 millimeters, a fuel tank capacity of 4.3 liters. Again, it's fuel injected, and an engine oil capacity of 1.3 liters. It has a maximum horsepower of 11.5 kilowatts at 9,000 RPM and a maximum torque of 13.5 Newton meters at 6,500 RPM. It doesn't have a compartment under the seat like other underbone motorcycles. It's pretty much just like the Raider 150 in this regard. Doesn't have a compartment under the seat. There's just the fuel tank and the air filter element. Now, in terms of performance and handling, is pretty much just like any underbone motorcycle in that it is small and agile, able to fit in small spaces, making it ideal for filtering through traffic. Now, regardless of what your opinion is on filtering, that's what it is. It's ideal for filtering through traffic, like most underbone motorcycles, like most small scooters. In terms of fuel consumption, being fuel injected motorcycle, it's quite fuel efficient. It may be 150cc in displacement, but in terms of fuel consumption, it's more or less up to par with a 110cc carbureted motorcycle. I should know, I used to have, as I had mentioned before, I used to have a Raider J Pro, a 110cc carbureted motorcycle, underbone motorcycle, and as per my experience, they both pretty much have the same fuel consumption, around 30 to 40 kilometers per liter, depending on your riding style, depending on traffic conditions. In terms of power, I find that I could easily reach 100 kilometers per hour, no problem with the rs150 with power to spare. I personally have pushed her up to 120 kilometers per hour, no problem. I mean, the engine is a little bit on the noisy side, but you can tell that still not up to maximum, still has something to give. From what I have heard, some riders have even pushed their rs150 up to more than 130 kilometers per hour. Although in my opinion, that's already pushing the engine too far. You'll get that performance, but at the cost of a shorter engine life, shorter motorcycle life, at least in my opinion. Not that I want to baby our motorcycles, just that you push them to the limit, you pay the price for it. In my opinion, at least. In terms of appearance, I was actually planning on buying a Suzuki Raider 150 when I was looking for a new commuter ride. But that's when the rs150 came out. And what can I say? I'd mentioned it before, I'll say it again, it was love at first sight. I absolutely love the looks of the rs150. In my opinion, it looks sleeker and sexier than the rs150, than the Raider 150. Now I know there are others out there that might beg to disagree, but that's my opinion, and aesthetics after all is in the eye of the beholder, and in my opinion, the rs150 is the more beautifully designed motorcycle, at least in terms of appearance, in terms of eye candy. Now, granted, the Raider 150 has a deeper engine growl, deeper engine sound, more aggressive sound than the rs150. I'll give it that. But in terms of looks, it's the rs150, hands down for me. Now, in terms of the seat, One thing you would notice about the seat of the rs150 is it's rather on the firm side, not all that conducive for long rides. After a while, after an hour or so of riding, you'll feel your butt getting numb, your butt getting sore, but it's just a matter of getting used to it, in my opinion. It's not that much of a deal breaker. Now, another thing that you need to consider if you are considering getting an rs150 is that when they first came out here in the Philippines, my motorcycle belonging to either the first batch or the second batch of motorcycles that Honda brought here, I forget exactly which, but those two batches, they have a problem with their chain tensioner. After 1,000 or so kilometers, you hear noise coming from the engine, and Honda had diagnosed it as a chain tensioner problem. They offered free replacement for the motorcycles that are still under warranty. Hopefully they had already fixed that problem with the later batches, but still, if you're gonna get an rs150, I reckon that's still one thing that you should be on the lookout for. It's a minor problem, in my opinion, easily fixed. Once fixed, once replaced, once you replace that faulty chain tensioner, it's gonna be smooth sailing from there on, in my opinion at least. Another thing that you would notice is that the drive chain, with such powerful engine, small as it is, coupled to a relatively small drive chain, the drive chain tends to be stretched after a while, and you would find that every so often you'd have to have the chain tension adjusted. I do it. I have the chain adjusted every oil change. So that's something to consider. Fortunately, the chain for the Honda rs150 is not all that expensive, and there are aftermarket drive chains available already, so you have a cheaper alternative than the Honda drive chain that you'll get from the Honda dealer. Still, it'll take you some time before you'll have to replace the drive chain. Depending on your riding style, it may be 1 year or even more. Me, it took me almost 2 years before I had to change the drive chain, so just a minor issue, I think. All in all, it's a great ride, and I'm sure you would grow to love it as much as I have once you get your hands on one. Well, that's it for now. Until next time, keep on riding on, baby!